Daryl, I want to start with you on this. What made you want to write this book, 10 Ways Not to Commit Suicide?
I found out that I was depressed, but at the time, I didn't know I was depressed. But what had happened to me was I got depressed, then I found out that I was adopted at age 35. Then Jam Master Jay got shot and killed. Then my father died.
Oh my gosh.
And it just hit the fan. But that being said, I was still functioning. I was still making it through life. But what had happened was my partner, Run, he was on TV for the last 10 years with his TV show. Run's House, Run's Travels, whatever. And everywhere, I was still alive, so everywhere I would go, people would ask me two questions. Yo, why you ain't on Run's House? And what's up with you? And I would say, yo, well, I just got out of rehab. And they would go, what? What do you mean you got out of rehab? And I'd be like, well, I used to drink a case of 40 ounces a day.
A case of 40s?
Yeah, I was crazy.
Wow.
I put a refrigerator in the back of my SUV so I didn't have to stop at the grocery stores to get out to get them. And then, so I would tell people, I'm going to therapy because, I have these suicidal thoughts. But every time I would say rehab therapy or alcoholism, people would go, yo, we're so glad that you didn't kill yourself, or we're so glad that you helped yourself, or, we're so glad that you're in therapy helping yourself. But then they would immediately go, yo, could you come talk to my daughter? Could you come talk to my father? Could you come talk to my mother? Why? Well, we just let my daughter know she was adopted, or my father's an alcoholic, so.
Did that put pressure on you? Because there you are as a human being going through this, and yet people are still seeing you in your superstar status and asking things of you.
Well, not. It didn't put pressure on me. It just made me say, okay, I'll go, and I went. But what I noticed was by me talking about what I was going through, it wasn't only helping me, it was helping other people.
And that's why we're doing this show.
Exactly.
And we're so happy to have you on.
Exactly.
Dr. Elisa English, how common is what he's describing, what Daryl's describing?
Oh, extremely common. 1 in 4 people experience mental health or mental health disorder in this country. And so it's a serious and pervasive disease. And it's something that goes unnoticed because of the stigma. People are very fearful around exposing their weakness. We're all very scared to expose our weakness. And so for someone like Daryl to have gone through this, he was going through a series of trauma that he really was unable to figure out how to cope. And it's very interesting that he was able to cope through helping others, and that's a very strong and powerful
and a very strong statement about him. Rotimi, in terms of the male stereotypes, because a lot of the experts that I've been talking to since we decided to focus on this issue say that, for men it's really hard to admit they have an emotional problem, or emotional issue, or be emotional. And I think about your character Dre on Power, where he's so tough and he's out there in this very violent scenario, but yet when it comes to his daughter, when it comes to protecting those you love, you got to deal with those emotions. What do you think about that, the male stereotypes?
I mean, I think it's the way we're raised too, that it's not okay to be soft or show that you're feeling some type of way about anything. But for me, and even for the character Dre, you can tell that the only reason he's doing what he's doing is to support the one thing that he actually does love. And you see that in that scene. But in terms of me, I've grown up around a lot of my friends who, will put off this tough guy persona because inside they're really insecure about everything that they're dealing with. And we'll be able to have conversations, and they'll tell me or someone that they're close with, oh, this is how I feel, bro, this is what I do. But then if somebody else walks into the room, it's like, nah, I never said that, And I think it's just not having an outlet, or someone that you feel is comfortable, makes you comfortable enough to be who you truly are, or deal with your own issues. But I think even for me growing up, I dealt with some of that too, because you had to be tough because everybody else was tough. But I said, no, that's not who I am, and you can't fall into that because you're only hurting yourself at the end of the day.
But did you feel pressured? Like you saw those images out there, but did you feel pressured at times? Like come close to, No,
never to that extent for me, because I always had an outlet. Like me and my mom are like really close, and I'm able to express any type of, worries or doubts or anything, so I was able to get that off my chest so it doesn't like manifest as something else. But but I've seen it up close, and I've seen how a lot of my friends who are young in the industry are like doing drugs and all type of thing because that's the only outlet to get them outside of their mind, and to not deal with the issue. So Yeah, but not for me. It was I always had someone to talk to.
It was definitely a powerful discussion. Be sure to check out Daryl's new book, 10 Ways Not to Commit Suicide. And don't go anywhere, we're just getting started. Coming up, a new twist on the world's oldest profession.
I think one thing that's not spoken enough about is the fact that many girls do not choose to be in this situation.
Welcome back. There's a new twist on the world's oldest profession. Prostitution arrests are up, and a lot of it has to do with social media. We got some insight on this from a victim's advocate as well as a former pimp. These young women that are basically, are they over 18 or are they teenagers?
Nah, most of them is over 18. You got some that are young that go through different situations, but I never dealt with nothing like that.
And these girls, and they figure like, okay, if instead of just having sex with a boyfriend, they can
Yeah,
just.
you might as well have a regular customer. They call him Trick. A regular customer, he'll call me.
What do they
once
call them? Tricks?
Yeah, call me once a week. He'll give me $150, and they probably have 2 or 3 of them. They'll call them, or a couple of them, or whatever.
In terms of your parameters of management,
Yeah.
what would you say your youngest girl was?
18. I wouldn't deal with that for
Okay.
You wouldn't deal with
And
underage.
now let me
'cause
ask you-
17's are underage.
Now let me ask you, let's say hypothetically, if a woman is not doing what she's supposed to, let's say she's turning tricks, as you refer to it as, but she's not giving you the money, what is your response to something like that? What's your antidote?
She wouldn't need to be with me no more. Like,
Okay, so you would fire her based on that? Okay. Okay, so
But some pimps would beat her up.
yes, you got some that don't want the girl to leave because they feel away, like, and they'll force them to stay by force, by beating them, but that's not. It's different type of people.
how long did you do this for as a pimp?
A couple of years I was involved with it. I got a lot of friends I was doing it, like about 4 or 5 years.
Because one thing that I know about business, and let's look at this for what it is. It is a business, and it can also be very territorial. Now, if you have an issue where someone infringes upon what you have, do you ever resort to violence, or have you had a situation where you needed to resort to violence to protect what you have? Because you mentioned a lot of these girls come to you for protection, correct?
Yeah, certain. You have different incidents, like if one of the dates play games, try to rob them or not pay them or something.
Okay, so if there's an issue with a customer, that's when you would step in and you would use force. How about if another pimp tries to take one of the girls and the girl says, look, I'm willing to go, and this is your top earner? What do you do in a situation
that?
like
By
that?
choice, she wants to go, she could go.
And she's
you would
going to
just
make
let-
more money over there.
Yeah,
And how many women have you had, I want to say, at the apex of your career in being a pimp in one shot?
4 or 5.
So you say you have 4
4
or 5
girls, and like what kind of, and this is back in the day. This is now we're talking like 2001, 2000, the 2000.
In the background.
So we're talking way back. So, you know, what kind of money are we talking about in those days?
It was like a couple thousand a night. Sometimes you make like $1,500, $1,200 a night.
What percentage would the
$1,200
girl get? That if, let's say hypothetically, if you make $4,000 in one night, what percentage
Like what
would
cut
you?
was it? What's a standard cut for a pimp?
Well, if the girl was living with you and you're taking care of her, you're paying her phone bills, taking care of her hair, nails, and everything that
Okay.
she needs done, like you're funding it with the money. So she's passing you the money and you're taking care of everything for her.
What? So she doesn't get any cash at all?
You give us some spending money.
She doesn't get
Is
like
that
a
basically what it
salary
is?
or
So
what,
he,
it's
what,
like,
what he's saying is,
what do you like? Here's a Metro
so
card.
what he's saying, what he's saying is,
Monica,
he
look.
determines.
Yeah.
What he's saying is, he determines how much money she gets. He takes everything, and then he gives out. Okay,
there
if you
used
need
to be
$20,
management contracts like
if you
that in
need
a lot of-
$20 or something to that
Monica,
effect.
when you hear this, what's going through your mind? I see you shaking your
Well,
head there.
I mean, it just makes me really angry because I think one thing that's not spoken enough about is the fact that many girls do not choose to be in this situation. They are forced into this situation, and then they fall under, you know, the protection or the guidance or the management of pimps.
I've never met a girl that was forced into it though.
But you know that there
But
are a
they
lot
are.
that were forced into it
I've heard of
because.
it, but I've never.
And you never dealt with
No.
other pimps that forced girls into it? There's a
It's like a gentleman's game when you look at it like that. It's like it's a lot
Come
of
closer
respect
to
in the
come
game.
closer to the mic, please.
It's a lot of respect in it. It's like it's a gentleman's game. It's not.
Well,
it's not
I think
supposed
it
to be
sounds
no
like you had a
violence
different way of
and-
dealing with it
Yeah.
than a lot of these guys. Because we've seen cases, and I've seen cases that have come through the court system where these pimps have actually branded with tattoos, their name brand on the girls' bodies, like
yeah,
they
there's
were
different
possessions.
girls that do that because they want to show you that they can't. Like girls will be competing
Like the
with each other.
boyfriend's name or the baby father's name?
Basically, yeah. They'll be competing with each other. Oh, I brought him more money today. I did this for him, and it'll be.
At what
But
point,
let
when
me-
you were involved in this, did you realize that what you're doing is unethical?
Did you feel bad, is what he's saying? Did you ever feel bad back in the day? Before you
What do
turned your life
mean
around?
Feel bad? Like if the girls were choosing to do it, like I never beat nobody up and forced them. Like this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do.
Human trafficking is getting a lot more attention, and victims' rights advocates say it's a step in the right direction. Coming up, who should get more respect, a drug dealer or a credit card scammer? Some say credit card scamming is the new preferred street hustle. We got into an intense debate about this with two of the stars from the hit web series Money and Violence.
Sophia, what about girls? Because there's a lot of girls that are kind of caught up in this and using this as ways to get those $800 designer shoes.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Canada, so I knew about this like maybe. Damn, I'm old. Okay, so maybe like 12 years ago. Whoa, yeah, like 12 years ago. And it was only like the Nigerians that knew how to do it. So anybody in Canada that knew about scamming or the machinery or whatever that was involved, it was usually from like Nigeria. Everyone knew that. So that's how I knew about scamming. But I didn't think that it was such a big thing until I got here. And I feel like everybody I meet is a scammer.
Like, how do you tell? Like, explain to somebody who's watching who has no experience.
On Instagram, there's a million. I could tell, like, when they don't have a job, but then you're wearing $3,000 shoes, a $4,000 bag, and you have a $500 belt on, and it's kind of like you're either a prostitute or you're a scammer, but it's usually scamming.
Usually scamming.
Yeah.
And then do they do it themselves, or do they usually do it in partnership with a guy or with some other people?
It's usually with a guy, and then the girls, they're like called workers, so they go out and they use the card or whatever, and then they get a small percentage or whatever, and then that's how they accumulate their money.
And they get all those luxury things. Corey, tell us the big picture of how the scam works, from them getting the numbers to
Right.
Actually some of the stores might be involved with it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
do they know? They have to know, right?
Oh yeah, they know. So there's several ways that this can happen. You have people that work in stores. Excuse me, you want a credit card? Fill out this information for the credit card. Then they copy them. They sell the information. You got people working like the biggest scam. One of the biggest places you could get Social Security cards. People that work in the Social Security department. So they have access to hundreds of thousands of people with Social Security numbers and their pedigree information. They sell those out.
Even when you go to get a phone, you have to give them your driver's license
give your information.
or your Social
So
Security
you can
number to
them
get a
that
phone
way.
account.
You also have the slots where they take the credit card slots, and they make
The swiping.
the swipers. They have the swipers, and they have some swipers in the stores. And you always, for the people out there, especially when you go into these ATM machines, before I go to an ATM, I always pull it, because I pull it to make sure they don't have something on top. The box on top.
Because it's like those boxes
So
they
tell
put
us
on.
what to look
Exactly.
out for. What can I look out for?
I'm telling you what to look out for. When you
What-
go
a
to the
box,
ATM,
what does it look like?
they just come up to the ATM and they'll put a box on top of it. It looks
It's
like the
basically, like
swiper.
those bathtubs they put on top of the old bathtub to make it look new. That's what it's like, exact replica
Oh, okay, so it's
of
like
the
a
credit card.
formation of it, and then it
Right.
just sticks
Yeah.
out.
And
Okay,
those are the
fine.
ones.
It just goes right in like that.
It
Or
goes-
if you're in a
it goes
restaurant,
in right
you give
like
the
that.
waitress your card. You gotta be careful with that also.
Exactly.
That's what I heard.
I think it's the worst crime ever, because I don't know how much I could say, but I respect.
say whatever you want to
Okay,
say.
well, I respect, and I know a lot of people. I respect a drug dealer more than a scammer. Like, I just can't respect someone that steals from somebody else. Like, I think it's the most low down thing that anybody can do.
Well, you mess
Why
up
does it
people-
bother you more than
messing
drug
up
dealers?
people.
Because drugs kill
bothers
people
me.
too. People are dying from drugs.
It bothers me because that's a choice that you make, is to do drugs. You go and get it. It makes the world go round. Listen, but the scammers, it makes the country go into poverty. It makes other people go into poverty. It makes the whole system messed up.
Sophia, you're saying you have more respect for drug dealers than scammers?
Yes.
Why?
Because I feel like drug dealing, you're giving the product to somebody that's already addicted to it, and with scamming, with the ways that I'm familiar with, I just do not believe. I always told myself, like, B&E is like the worst crime ever because it's stealing from innocent people. Like, I have a big thing with that. So I just don't agree with somebody stealing any kind of money from somebody that's not, like, that's innocent.
Kai, jump in here.
It's the new hustle. Like, I was born in the 80s, and I remember New York, and I remember I was growing up, remember all the crack vials and stuff on the streets and stuff like that. Scamming it changed. It saved everybody's life, in my opinion. Crack kills, man.
And then Kai, how are they actually doing it? Because, like, where do they get the numbers from?
Well, they get the numbers.
I respect a hustle. Like, I feel like scamming isn't a hustle. Like, it's easy. Like, you go to the bank, you get a card, and it's swipe. With drug dealing, it's more grounded. It's more like
it's not only that
you're working.
But I'm talking about where they get the numbers from. Not only that, Lisa, they they do the bank. You could do the accounts and stuff like that.
I just don't believe in stealing.
Yeah, but no, everybody. If I set up my own account, I would say if Corey was the guy coming to me, like, let's do some bank fraud, I would put my own account up there, so I know it's gonna come back to me also. I'm not stealing from nobody. It's my fault.
So wait, they open up their bank accounts, put money in it? No, you gotta tell
definitely.
me right now.
That's a scamming way also.
Huh?
That's
they
how
put money
scam
in a
also.
bank account, but a
Yes.
lot of it has to deal with getting a person's identity.
Yeah, that's identity
And
theft.
Corey, you say something that also
Which is not
NYPD told me when we were interviewing the lieutenant with the financial crimes. He said you have, like, anytime you hear about these hackings that go on, where they hack into an email server, they hack into a store's database, loyalty clubs, like at the grocery store and these kind of places, they get your identity, but that those are kind of more sophisticated, but somehow they're partnering with street gangs actually.
Right.
Tell me about that.
So that's what the deal is. So the street guys, because the hustling has changed. So let me just clarify something really quick. I don't respect the drug dealer or the scam artist. So I just want to make that clear.
And it's all illegal and it can
It's
all
all
land you in
illegal.
I
jail.
don't respect either one, but I'm saying,
it's
like,
all
I
illegal.
respect the hustle.
So what's happening now, though, what we're finding out in the streets in New York City is the street guys hustling it. That's why I have respect for Jay-Z, 50 Cent. These guys so drugged and they made it. So street guys are smart. They said, hey, we got to change the game. So now
Scammers
we
aren't
get
street guys,
with
though.
the smart people. We get with the smart, the intellectual people. They are breaking into the computers. They're getting the information, give it down to the street guys. The street guys will pay them their money for breaking in.
And the street guys are moving it and selling it and giving the people to
and they're creating their little
like his
gangs.
character, like Kai's character.
Exactly. And
Yeah, it's like
they're
a character
creating a
play.
gang. And they create a little gang. But the difference between, like she said, the drug dealing and the scam artists, it's not as violent as the drug game.
You know what? With the scamming too, I feel like when you date one, I've dated one. When you date them, it's like their whole life is a lie. Like they're such con artists. They can lie and portray anything, and then when you find out like actually anything about them, you're like, holy.
Tell us about one of the scammer guys you dated. Like did he take you to super expensive restaurants?
No,
Did he buy you stuff?
He didn't even buy me things because they didn't even work.
We've had a lot of amazing moments on Street Soldiers, and there's only more to come. Thank you for watching Mixtape Volume 2. I'm Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon, and let's push for peace.